You know that feeling, right? Everybody's felt it at some point. That pang when there's no one to sit with at lunch, or maybe you've just moved to a new city and that weekend just stretches out in front of you, totally empty. It's this really profound and sometimes pretty painful human experience. So today, let's talk about loneliness. I mean, you'd think we'd be less lonely than ever, right? We've got smartphones, we've got social media, instant messaging. We are literally connected to hundreds, sometimes thousands of people at the push of a button.
And yet, there it is. The great paradox of our time. All of this amazing technology is designed to bring us closer together, but for some reason, a massive number of us feel deeply, chronically isolated. So, what is actually going on here?
And the numbers, wow, the numbers really paint a stark picture. This isn't just some vague feeling people have. It's a huge societal trend. Over in the UK, a staggering 60% of young adults say they feel lonely often. And in the US, it's nearly half the entire population. We're not just talking about a bad mood. We're looking at a full-blown modern epidemic.
Okay, so it's really important we get this definition straight. Loneliness is not about how many people are physically around you. You can be totally happy and content by yourself and feel absolutely miserable in a packed room. It's a subjective feeling. And here's the key. If you feel lonely, you are lonely. Period. Your feeling is completely valid.
So many people think loneliness is some kind of character flaw, Like they're just bad at making friends or something. But the science tells a completely different story. It turns out it's not a personal failure at all. It's a biological function. It's like an ancient alarm system that's built right into our brains.
Here's the best way to think about it. Loneliness is just like hunger. Seriously, hunger is your body's alarm going off screaming, hey, you need food to survive. Well, loneliness is the exact same kind of alarm, but for your social needs. It's your body telling you that you need connection to survive. It's a fundamental need that's been hardwired into us for millions of years.
You see, our biology was shaped in a world that looks nothing like ours today. For most of human history, we lived in these small, super tight-knit groups. You were born into a tribe of, say, 50 to 150 people, and that was your world for your entire life. Everything from finding food to staying safe to raising kids, it was all impossible to do alone. For our ancestors, the absolute biggest threat wasn't some predator lurking in the bushes. No way. It was social exclusion. Getting kicked out of the tribe. Well, that was a literal death sentence. So our brains evolved to be incredibly sensitive to our social standing, just to make sure that never, ever happened.
And to stop that from happening, our bodies developed something that scientists call social pain. It's the reason rejection hurts so much. I mean, it physically hurts. It's a powerful warning signal that's designed to make you change your behavior and get back in with the group. It's a survival mechanism, plain and simple.
So, if this whole system is designed to keep us safe and connected, how did it go so horribly wrong? How did this ancient survival tool turn into a modern trap?
Well, this timeline kind of shows how we've systematically, piece by piece, dismantled the world our brains were built for. It started way back in the Renaissance, when the culture began to value the individual over the group. Then the Industrial Revolution pulled people out of their villages and into these anonymous cities. And that trend has just kept accelerating. We move for jobs, we see each other less, and our inner circles, our real friends, have just gotten smaller and smaller.
And the consequences of this massive mismatch between our ancient biology and our modern world, they're devastating. The constant stress that comes from being chronically lonely isn't just a mental thing, it is deeply physical. It weakens your immune system, it makes diseases deadlier, and get this, large-scale studies have shown it is just as harmful to your health as smoking a pack of cigarettes every single day.
And the most dangerous thing about chronic loneliness is that it starts to feed on itself. It creates this vicious feedback loop. You feel isolated, right? Which puts your brain on high alert for any social threats. Then you start to assume the worst in people, which naturally makes you want to avoid social situations, which then, of course, makes you feel even more isolated. And the cycle just keeps going.
So, what's actually happening inside your head? Well, when loneliness becomes chronic, your brain literally flips into self-preservation mode. It becomes hypervigilant, seeing threats everywhere. But here's the paradox. It actually gets worse at reading social cues correctly. You start misinterpreting a neutral face as a hostile one, and you become more self-centered as a way to protect yourself, which, unfortunately, can just push people further away.
Okay, I know that all sounds pretty bleak, but it is not hopeless. Not at all. The key to breaking out of this vicious cycle is understanding it.
The path forward starts by looking inward and just recognizing the patterns that are at play. So, the very first step is just acceptance. You have to recognize that feeling lonely is normal. It is not a sign that you're weak or that there's something wrong with you. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Literally, every single person on this planet feels this way at some point. It is a universal part of being human.
So once you've accepted the feeling, you can start to examine your thoughts. You can start by asking yourself this: is my attention automatically zooming in on the negative stuff in my social life? Here's a perfect example of how you can start to challenge those automatic thoughts. Your lonely brain tells you a story, and it's usually a negative one. Let's say a colleague gives you a short reply. The brain's immediate story is, oh, they don't like me. But you can stop and question that. What's a more likely reality? You know what? They were probably just busy or stressed. It's about consciously checking that story you're telling yourself.
And that leads right into the next question to ask yourself. Do you walk into a room already expecting people to not like you? Are you defaulting to the worst-case scenario about what other people might be thinking?
And this is the hard part. I know. The lonely brain builds up these walls to avoid getting hurt again. But connection, real connection, requires vulnerability. So, can you take just a small risk? Can you try giving someone the benefit of the doubt and just assume they're not out to get you?
And finally, take a look at your behavior. Are you saying no to invitations so often that they've stopped coming? Are you not picking up the phone when a friend calls? Sometimes, without even realizing it, we reinforce our own isolation. It's a defense mechanism.
And this is so important to remember. Looking inward isn't always enough. If you feel truly trapped in the cycle, reaching out for professional help is a profound act of strength and courage. It is not and never will be a sign of weakness.
You know, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one simple, powerful truth. Unlike most other animals, our survival and our well-being aren't just tied to the physical world around us. They're tied to each other. Connection isn't a luxury. It's a biological necessity, just like air or water.
We have created a world that is just filled with technological wonders. I mean, from these incredible phones in our pockets to spaceships. But none of it can replace our fundamental need for each other. So the real question for all of us now is, can we consciously start to rebuild our world, our communities, and our own lives to put that connection back where it belongs, right at the center of everything?